Those weekends I would do draping or whatever it was for $250, $500. I would go back home and I would count my coins and I would realize there was none. And I'm like, where the money go? Baby, the money went to the inventory, the equipment, people I had to pay to help me or whatever the case may be. In the beginning, you're thinking you're making some money. Then before you know it, you're left with nothing. And what it's going to do, it's going to cause a financial strain. And then what? You're not going to be able to invest in anything. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Raising the Bar, which is the #1 event draping podcast on the internet. And as always, I am your fabulous host, Precious Stevens, aka the Draping Queen, bringing you the ins and outs of the draping world. Now guys, here at the Posh Academy, we only believe in dropping gems. So in every episode, we discuss the secrets, the challenges, and the untold stories of event draping. So let's drape it up and dive in. So guys, why did we decide to talk about this topic? Because we really need to reset the industry standard because let's just face it, it's been watered down. With the recent influx of not only designers, but people that really want to get in the industry, the bad thing is they really don't know how to price. They don't know all the really important aspects of draping. So they kind of just get in, mimic what someone else is doing and try and undercut everyone else, which is really hurting the industry. Not to mention those that's in business finding themselves unhappy because they feel as if it's not profitable. But guys, it's very profitable. In this industry, the standard itself is a six-figure business, right? You should be able to generate 10K months throughout your calendar year. The main thing is you got to equip yourself along with your business with the proper tools and the proper elements for you to be able to do so. So that is why we're creating this podcast. That's why I'm creating this video in particular to let you know that going the cheapest is not the route. So let's talk about undercutting your value, guys. When you consistently offer the lowest prices, it really gives the impression that your services either are low quality or guess what? You don't value your own expertise. And this really makes it harder to attract higher paying clients who are willing to invest in premium draping services. The notion is that there's no one out there that's going to pay what you want to charge. That is so far from the truth. Guys, it's really all about perception. You are providing a service. So if you don't believe in the service, how are you going to coerce me to believe in the service? So you cannot come in undercutting your value just because, or undercutting your prices just because you want to land the sale. That reeks desperation. And if a person can kind of get that feeling from what you're giving off, do you think they're not going to sit there and haggle your services? Let's just be honest. I know I would. And it's not necessarily about the individual itself. It's about human nature. You give off a form of, I'm desperate. I want you to book me. And it sounds like I got to pay these bills. And that's not what you want to give off. You want to show up in authority and you want to be firm on knowing the value you're bringing and you want it to command and demand the price point that you want to be paid. So guys, let me tell you a story. I know a lot of people now see where I am today, but for all of the new people that's coming to the channel and that's new to the tribe and the Posh Academy, guys, it ain't always been that way. So I used to attract bargain basement Betty too, right? She used to bang on my door and I used to answer it, right? But in those early stages, I was in the same element that I'm telling you it's not wise to sell from. You don't sell from a place when you're hungry, right? This one particular incident, me and my family are out, right? And I'm a fish out of water. I'm just starting my business, right? And I'm not necessarily looking for clients because at that time I was busy with the free stuff, like doing family events and, this person would support me or I was, I was a little busy at the time, but I was busy because I was the cheapest one on the block. But needless to say, we're at an event or we're out at a social gathering and a young lady was, I remember she was just in communication with my uncle and saying that she was about to have an event or they was just talking about her event. And clearly they pitched my services, right? And I'm like, don't do it. So I was super nervous, guys. This is a true story. I swear, I kid you not. Super nervous. And I'm sitting there with my best friend and they kind of threatened me. Like, if you don't go up there and you don't pitch your services, I can't remember what the threat was, but I didn't like it. So it was something in me. It was like, all right, I got to give it a shot. But I was operating, one, out of fear of desperation, and two, out of just being fearful that I was going to be rejected, right? Because I felt as if I really need this client. However, something in me felt like I wasn't worthy of this kind of client. So needless to say, I go up there and I don't really remember the conversation, but something about when you're in boss mode, it clicked. But it clicked from an area of desperation. So I told her about what I do, and she, took my card and got my information, but she ain't called me. And the main thing was, I just remember how I felt in that moment. And I'm kind of glad she didn't call me, because I would have took the gig and I would have felt as if I was doing myself a disservice. And I've done this quite a few times in the early portions of working, right? Those weekends I would do draping or whatever it was for $250, $500. I would go back home and I would count my coins and I would realize there was none. And I'm like, where'd the money go? Baby, the money went to the inventory, the equipment, people I had to pay to help me, or whatever the case may be. So this was a very frustrating moment for me. And I know when you're first getting in, if you're experiencing this, it's going to be frustrating for you too, which is why I speak so much about pricing accurately. So one of the first things you should get into when you're getting into the industry is understanding the aspect of pricing. Don't jump in my DMs like everybody else do and say, Precious, I got to do this and how much to charge. Don't do that. We created a software that eliminates all the guesswork. I need you to show up in authority and understand why draping costs what it costs. There's a lot of work involved. There's a lot of equipment involved. There's things you got to pay, such as taxes, travel, transport. It's a lot of things, right? And when you're talking to a prospect, that's the last thing you think about. You like, I just want this money. But when you understand fully what the price point is and why you should be charging that, now you can show up confidently. So guys, the worst thing to do is to go out there hunting and looking for work when you're hungry. Do some mindset work, which is one of the things I really had to do. It took me about a year of personal development, and I really had to understand my value, because in the beginning I didn't know, right? I wasn't aware, but I had to understand what I was bringing, the solutions and the answers that I was providing for these individuals, because at the end of the day, that's what people pay for. They pay for solutions and answers. And I had to realize that that's what I had. And so once you go back to any kind of personal development tool, such as reading books, listening to podcasts such as this one, right? Just getting into your own space and just taking the moments that's needed by yourself to really develop who you are as an individual before you go out there in the workforce and try and show up as a CEO in this draping world. You got some personal work to do first. So let's move on to talking about the sustainability of your business. Now, when you're operating on very thin profit margins, it's going to make it real challenging for you to cover your costs. And this is what average designers don't think about, right? They don't think about everything that they have to pay for beforehand. And they're just smacking the price on there that they probably saw on someone else's website, or they probably slid in my DMs and asked me a quick question, because it happens so often. And I don't want you guys to do that. I want you to really consider everything that is going to cost, including your time, to make this thing happen, right? You're going to be able to generate substantial profits once you factor all these things in. If you don't, in the beginning, you're thinking you're making some money until, guess what? You make $500 for a backdrop. That gets pinched off because you had to pay for this. That gets pinched off because all of your 4 or 5 hours was over here that you're not really accounting for. Then before you know it, you're left with nothing. And what it's going to do, it's going to cause a financial strain. And then what? You're not going to be able to invest in anything, right? You don't have any money to invest in anything. But if you're able to price for profit, you're able to do things such as invest in equipment upgrades, right? How you start doesn't necessarily determine how you finish. I told you guys, the main thing with getting in with the most thing you need first, and then upgrading. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't feel like you got to show up on Front Street day one and you got to buy everything that's needed. That's not necessary. You buy the most critical components for you to make some traction. You invest in your training, right? Because that's critical. You got to pay for the thing you don't know in order for you to grow, right? Your marketing. If no one knows who you are, how are they going to buy from you, right? So these are the things you want to definitely pay more attention to. And this is stuff that's going to help you grow your business to that next level. So for example, guys, If you're in your beginning phases, right? And let's just say you don't have a lot of money for the things necessary for you to kind of get started. You need to focus on leveraging the skills that you have and partnering and collaborating with other people in the industry, because your main goal should be building a portfolio, right? Meaning you need some social proof. Don't go out there to these social sites and smack this stock photos all on your stuff, because that is not saying or conveying what you can do. So some people may tell you you deserve to get paid for everything. However, I am not one of them people. In the very beginning, I leveraged my skill set in exchange for equipment. I leveraged it in exchange for portfolio, which was professional photography or whatever it was that I knew I needed at the time for me to grow, but that I wasn't either willing to pay for or I didn't have the money to pay for. So definitely seek out, different opportunities to partner, to network with people in your industry that may not do something directly related to what you do. If you offer draping, look for someone that does balloons, right? You guys could do an easy collaboration and build your portfolio up that way, right? Or if you know someone's having an event, offer your services. Those 9 times out of 10, if they're having a nice event, they have professional photography. This is stuff that you're going to need to target the people you want to work with. I did this, guys. I had like it really was a year, but I had a dedicated 9-month stint where I leveraged my services. I partnered with people. I even volunteered some stuff, right? But what it did was it allowed other opportunities for me, which was why it was a real strategic move on my part. So these are ways that I'm not going to tell you, oh, if you don't have the money to get this kit or get that fabric, you're out of luck. That is not true. You can even barter your services, right? I did the same thing. I bartered my services and had people purchase the equipment I needed, right? And then where y'all think the equipment went? It went with me. So that was growing my inventory without me having to spend the money to grow it. It's so many ways to skin a cat in this game, guys. And that's what we do here on this channel. We give you all the skinny and let you realize it's not as deep as you think. It's not as difficult as you think. You can get into this draping industry and you can thrive, right? You really can, by just implementing some simple strategies to take your business to the next level. So that brings us to market perception and branding, guys. Being the cheapest can position your business as a budget option. And let's just face it, you didn't get into this industry to be the cheaply priced, right? Or you're not trying to attract bargain basement Betty on purpose. However, it's happening for a reason. It could be so much harder to really establish a premium brand image and attract those higher paying clients that you're aspiring to work with when you're not putting the same effort and the same energy into your own brand. Perception is everything. Like I always say, a person is only going to pay you what they think you're worth. People get their head wrapped around pricing as no one's willing to pay that price. That's a bald-faced lie, because I can't remember the last turned down invoice for draping, right? However, it has to be coming from a point of they believe in what you're going to deliver. They are experiencing a premium experience along with your brand, right? They can't go to your social sites, guys, and see a lot of things that's, one, irrelevant to what it is that you're positioning your business to offer, and 2, just low value stuff. That's like your cyber home, right? When someone comes to your home, as soon as you open the door, they already have an impression of who you are and how you are. And that's the same thing as far as your branding when it comes to your social media platforms. But I gotta take it a step deeper, guys. I gotta take it a step deeper, because branding really has nothing to do with your logo and the colors on your aesthetics. It's really all about how you make people feel. When someone experiences the Posh Academy, they instantly get a feel of premium, because that's how we positioned our brand, right? They're not really focused on the pricing because they already kind of got an idea of what they're going to receive for what they're booking us for. So you guys got to really pay more attention to how you make people feel when it comes to interacting with your brand. I don't want you to get hung up on my logo got to look like this, because a lot of us do it, right? Or the font's got to look like that. Or I need these kind of images on my Instagram. Let me tell you, at the end of the day, it helps, but that is not the end all to all, right? If you walk into Mercedes you already have a sense of, you sit in a chair differently. They coming out, they bring you some kind of nice beverage. You go into Toyota, it's like, all right, let's get to it. What car you want? It's all about the experience. So if you focus more on providing value within your brand, right, you're going to be attracted to different kind of clientele instantly because you have 3-class buyers, right? If you're looking to attract the low-class buyer, they're going to be attracted to people that don't really care about their brand. They're going to be attracted to people that's in a rush to land the sale. They're going to be attracted to people that's desperate to say, oh, you want to know what? I'm only going to charge you this amount of dollars. That is not how premium people buy. Premium people buy according to quality. We're not necessarily looking at the price point because we can afford what we want. We're looking at the quality of what you're providing. So guys, if you're really looking to transition your brand from Bargain Basement Betty to Betty with the bag, you got to do things differently. Your language have to be different. Your verbiage have to be different. Even how you carry yourself within your brand has to be different. And I don't want you to think it's going to happen overnight. It's not. I'm still in transition, but you have to be mindful that it is something that kind of carries on and you got to work at it. You have to learn the words that people in the premium space that they are attracted to. They're not looking for bargain, right? If you have that in your verbiage, get rid of it. They're not looking for affordable. They don't care because they have the money, right? So go back to the basics, right? Learn what's in your verbiage, learn who you are attracting. Think about what you're saying. It's certain things that they're going to be attracted to because they don't have the time. They're looking for things that save them time, right? They're not looking for saves them money because money for them is not an issue. However, when you find people of quality or that has the budget that you want to work with, they don't have the time. They need a solution to where they know it's done, it's handled, where they can go off and do the things that they're great at to generate the money that they're used to. And so you guys got to focus on delivering that. So the main thing I want you guys to take away with this one is your business, the success of your business is about, and your pricing is about perception and what people are willing to pay you. I don't care what you put on your website. That has nothing to do with anything because you could put, hey, I got a package that's $10,000 and you could think it's amazing. But if no one perceives your brand to be able to deliver that, you ain't going to get paid. And then you know what you're going to do? You're going to go back to the drawing board and you're going to cross out the 10,000. You're going to say, hey, flash sale for 2,000. It's so common in the industry. I'm trying to tell you. So position your brand, right? Learn about language, learn about verbiage, learn about your superpower. What do you deliver better than anybody else? I'm trying to tell you, it's a game changer. All right, guys, that wraps up today's episode on the price trap. Avoiding these mistakes, guess what? They're going to set you on the path to becoming a top-notch event draping designer. Now, if you found this video to be helpful, show your girl some love and drop a like and subscribe to the best draping podcast on the internet. And guys, let's keep this conversation going and let me know what lessons you've learned from pricing your services too low. And I want to know what ended up happening in the process. We're actually doing a giveaway for a copy of our backdrop pricing calculator to the person that has the most interesting story. So I don't want you guys to be shy. I want you to share some stories in the comments below and be honest, right? Thanks again for tuning in to Raising the Bar. I'm your girl, Precious Stevens, aka the Draping Queen, signing out.